Good morning and welcome to TMI Socials. It's now time to talk what is trending on the social media street. I am Nwoluwapo Stevens. I better still call me a social media butterfly. So yesterday, Nigerians were jubilating as we now have our president, Bola Tinubu, right here in the country. Well, it was in the news that President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after a working visit and retreat in France and in London lasting 18 days. The presidential 001 aircraft conveying the president landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja at 9:50 p.m. exactly. Now, Tinubu was received by his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, Nyesom, Wike, Nuhu, Ribadu, George, Akume, and others. Remember that Tinubu departed Nigeria on Wednesday, April 2nd, spending some time in Paris, the French capital, before he reportedly proceeded to London weekends ago. Let's have a feel of the welcome. Welcome back, Mr. President. Moving over to tweets, let's have a couple of reactions to see how excited you are on his arrival. Now, this user says, the whole Nigeria couldn't sleep. We were all waiting for him to arrive. Now, una papa bidiso Nigerians. Well, another user actually wrote on Instagram, we are expecting the president of France to come and visit Nigeria for 2 weeks. That's all we want. Well, finally in the story, this user says, welcome, Mr. President. I trust you have returned with more inspiration and innovation. Now, speaking about inspiration, it was actually in the news that the State House has allocated a sum of 10 billion naira in the 2025 approved budget for the installation of solar mini grid at the presidential villa. Well, this follows an increase in the overall budgetary allocation to the State House headquarters, which rose from 47.11 billion naira in the initially proposed 2025 budget to 57.11 billion naira in the approved version. Now let's have a feel of what social media users have been saying regarding this story. We begin with this one on X who says, and the masses, they get hope, say federal government will improve life situation, but federal government don't go find alternative. Another user actually reacting wrote, moving over to the next tweet, this user says, it is hypocritical indeed to approve such a budget. Why can Nigeria manufacture its own solar panels? I wonder how these people in Babaringa think. Now, still in the story, this user says, now let's move over. Well, Daniel says, meanwhile, the same government is owing over 4 trillion naira debt for electricity. Well, interestingly, the federal government hasn't come out to either debunk this news or, lay claims to it. But anyway, we'll move over to another viral video we saw yesterday where hundreds of people have been trooping to a location in Kano State to drink and bathe dirty water believed by locals to have emerged from what they claim are the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad. Now, actually, it was boldly inscribed on the ground. It was gathered that the scene has become a daily pilgrimage ground, drawing people from far and near, many of whom are afflicted by strange illness and believe that the water holds miraculous healing powers. Now, in the video, men, women, and children are actually seen jostling for access to the muddy pool of water. Let's have a feel. How did you take this online? Moving over to tweets. We'll start off with this user who wrote, anything that can control your mentality and mind can control your entire existence. Even education can't help you. Another user responding to this story says online, Moving over to the next one, this user says, this is where education no be scam comes in. Still in this bit, moving over to the next, this user wrote, don't rush into criticizing them. We Christians do even worse. Now finally on this story, this user actually reacted and says, religion is a major problem that's affecting the development of Africa, and we have a long way to go. Now, let's have our picture of the day, as Nigerians are currently reacting to a post made by the Special Advisor on Media and Public Communication, Sunday Diary, praising our First Lady Remi Tinubu for kneeling before Afenifere leader Paruben Fasoroti in Akure, the Ondo State capital, recently. Well, Diary had posted a photo and praised Mrs. Tinubu for displaying humility as she knelt down to greet the elderly man. Well, reacting to this post, some social media users actually did slam him and argued that such a post should not even be made by a government officials because it does not affect any national issue. Moving over to see how you reacted to this one, Damilare says, she deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for doing what humans do naturally. Great news. Another user actually wrote on X still, this one says, was she supposed to stand before when he was sitting? Like, it makes sense to me. Now, still on the story, this user says, moving over to the next one, this one says, laugh out loud, how does this translate to reduced cost of living for Nigerians? Majoring in the minors. Well, and it goes on and on and on. But finally, my final story for you for today on TMI Socials will be a viral video of former presidential aspirant and presidential overseer of the Lagos-based Global Community Cathedral Church, Pastor Tunde Bakare. Now, he has said that President Tinubu is practicing motorpark brand of politics. He actually said this while delivering his message in his church on Easter Sunday, where he warned that Tinubu's government and, of course, Nigeria risks a popular uprising unless the administration changes course on security and the economy. Let's listen to him.
Fellow citizens, at the center of this political banditry is the motorpark brand of politics, nurtured by the old brigade politicians, and in recent times by President Bola Tinubu. Mr. President, it is through your influence that the Nigerian National Assembly has become a haven for legislative rascality. Mr. President, it's under your watch that the National Assembly has become an extension of the executive, grossly violating the principles of separation of powers and rubber stamping the whims and caprices of your office, all while singing the international anthem of psychoviolence on your mandate, we shall stand. Mr. President,
Really international anthem. On Monday we should stand. That actually got me there. But anyway, moving over to tweets. Let's see how Nigerians are reacting to the story online. This user says, forget about his past. If only all the religious leaders will come and speak up this way, things will be better. Another user wrote on Instagram, if only other elder statesmen will rise up at this time and speak up like this, the present government and all the political actors will sit up. Now finally on the story, this user says, if all the religious leaders, preachers should be bold and confident to speak the truth and address the realities and radicalism of the public and political office holders, Nigeria and indeed the world would be paradise. Wilson, on your mandate, we shall stand.
I remember that anthem, on your mandate, yes, on your mandate.
It was last year when he came to present the budget. And all of a sudden, everybody was singing on your mandate, we shall stand. I'm like,
I don't just get it.
What's going on?
I don't just get it. But I'm so shocked and in a way surprised about the 10 billion naira earmarked for solar energy. For Aso Rock. So where's the hope of our power sector? Where is the hope? Since everybody's are looking for alternative, turning to, let's say, solar energy, that means it's like the power going to be like, okay, fine, since we don't have presidential, whatever is being called, maybe the Nigerians will just go and start sourcing for their own power. Or each state will be actually generate power, because as it stands right now, it's like, for me, that is just the end of fighting for power.
It's really shocking,
Yeah.
though, because
Look
already...
at Kano, Katsina, and 22 hours power
Right.
supply. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, already, an average Nigerian actually generates his or her own power,
Yeah.
right? So it's really not shocking. But coming from the presidential villa, that's the height of it, really.
Well, so sad, so sad. But let's see, maybe this is just something like, look, we have to wake up in every sector. The power sector must be looked into. And they're only 4-point-something trillion. How are they going to pay that? Anyway.
This is Nigeria.
Anyway, well, he's back into the country right now. We're singing hallelujah, thank God he's back. So what next? We have a Plateau situation, Benue situation, Borno situation, all manner of situationship that is just happening right now in the country. So it's like, I don't know how he's going to really swim through all this. But I believe I have this team that do his planning, his thinking for him.
Femi, Gbajabiamila, Nyesom, Wike, Nuhu, Ribadu, that his Helix Gustoler, and the list is actually endless.
Just keep mentioning names. Just keep mentioning names.
No, I'm done.
All right, well, this was very, I'll call it to up today's edition of This Morning on TV from All Network Center. I was saying have a wonderful Tuesday ahead. Bye for now.